What's up, everybody? I'm out right now, out and about. See who joins in. Fucking Jake. What's up, everybody? I'm not at home right now. I'm out and about. I'm actually far from home. See who taps in. Live with Jay, number 125. I said I'd do one tonight. Hopefully you guys tap in. Tuesday, my day of kicking back. I'm far away from home right now. I'm actually hella far from home. I'm out here chilling like a villain. Want to do tonight's live. Talk about some things. We'll talk about that. I'm not sure what happened to him. As far as I know, he passed away. But I'm going to talk a little bit about my history with him. I talked to him in the past. He was a cool dude, you know. Never had an issue with him. He never talked bad about me. I never talked bad about him. But I'll tell you guys some history about with me and Rascal. But I didn't know him very well. But we talked from time to time. We had messaged each other a couple times. Talked on the phone a couple times. But, you know, my interaction with him was kind of limited. But, you know, a lot of it was on YouTube. You know, I would go on his lives a lot, talk to him. But we'll get into it. You feel me? Yeah, so I just wanted to make this live to talk about those things and a couple other things too. But yeah, man, so how's everybody doing? Today's my day off, kicking back. Took a little trip far away from home. I'm actually far from home right now. I'm nowhere near the casa. I've been good. Where's everybody at? Is everybody on somebody else's live? But I've been good, just busy with life, doing what I gotta do. Fuck, man. What's up, bipolar? Yeah, bro, I'm far away from home, you know. It's dark. I got my car on because if it's really dark where I'm parked right now, I should have parked where it was more light, but oh well. But yeah, man. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about tonight about my little history with Josh. I just try to see if more people joining in. You feel me? AC pretending to appear like he likes Josh to attack running doves. Didn't AC make a video about where he talked about Josh? I can't remember if he talked to him about him in a good light or a bad light. But I remember Josh, he did a video where he talked about a lot of the different prison channels or whatnot a while back, right? He did a live where he talked about like Gunner and Dubs and I think he mentioned Josh and a few other people, if I remember right. But yeah, it's always some kind of drama on this YouTube yard. But unfortunately, apparently it looks like Josh passed away. Regardless of how he went, he's gone. And Josh seemed like a good dude, man. And I'm legitimately saying that. Like I said, I talked to him in the past. Um, early on, he reached out to me, like really early on, and I want to talk more about that. I just want more people to come on like that. I could start it. You feel me? You know. But yeah. But yeah, right now I'm far away from home. I took a little road trip. You feel me? Drop the car for a little bit. But I'm just chilling in my car doing this live, kicking back. I said I would do a live today, and I'll do it. I came out to Sacramento. Sacramento. I'm in Sacktown, way out here, far away from home. About a good hour and a half from home. Probably head out back home when after I'm done with this. But yeah, man. I don't know. I guess I'll get started. I'll talk about. I mean, I'm surprised more people ain't on here. I sent everybody a message. They check paperwork in heaven. I'm in Sacktown, your town, shortcuts. I'm in Sacramento. From a treadmill. You should get off my thing if you don't like me. Don't worry about what I tread in, what I stream in. Clown. Anyway, so it looks like we got more people on here, and I'll be able to talk about my to come North Hollywood play, come to my Cali Mike studio and donate to the defunct studio. Does he still have his studio? I haven't. Is he even on YouTube anymore? I haven't seen AC in American Cholo in a minute. I don't even know if he's still on. I gotta turn on the car a little bit because I have the light on and it'll drain my battery. So if you hear me turning on and turning off the car, it's because I gotta turn on and turn off the battery. I don't want my battery to die. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna talk about my little history with Josh, and whoever taps in, they can hear the story. So, it's no surprise, it's nothing new that unfortunately Josh passed away. The homies hangout, you feel me? He passed away last Friday. I've heard a lot of rumors of how he passed. That I don't know. I have no idea if he really took himself out, or there's others that say that he died because of natural causes. I do know from his own lives, because I've joined many of his lives in the past when he used to have them a lot, that he would talk about having health issues. He talked about having back issues, and I think he talked about having cancer or survived cancer in the past. Maybe it came back, you know what I mean? So I do know he had health issues, and that could be a big part of why he passed. How I first heard of Josh, believe it or not, I noticed he had commented in a few videos I did in the past, and he had recognized some of the places that I had went, or wherever. I was like, I think it was some of my shorts where I go eat at different restaurants, and I think he had recognized a couple of uh, uh, I think he had kind of. I think he had uh, how can I say? He had hit up a couple of my videos. Like he knew like some places that I've been to, and and I was like, who's this dude? And I looked into his account, and I ain't gonna lie, this ain't to make fun of him or nothing, but I couldn't tell if he was Rasa or if he was a Wood. And then I think one of the places he had mentioned was in Contra Costa County. So I was like, is this dude a Coco County Wood? I wasn't sure, bro. But then, after a while, a homie of mine from the town, someone who's very reputable on the streets, not saying no names, but a homie of mine from the town told me about him. And I was like, I think that's that dude that left some comments on my video. Like, I thought back to it, because he told me the name and the name of his channel. He's like, hey, that dude's pretty cool. You should hit him up. And eventually I hit him up somewhere down the line. I can't remember. I know I hit him up on IG if I remember right, because my homie told me about him. And then we talked, and this is before he was really known. Before, when he was barely coming on the scene. He wasn't even known yet, you know what I mean? And I think he was trying to make a name for himself on YouTube. And we had talked in the past, and this is like early on. This is like, I would have to say 2001, maybe 2002. I mean 2001, 2021, 2022, somewhere around that timeline. Like when all the channels were kind of popular and like COVID was still around. A lot of people were doing their thing. We had talked a little bit about possibly him coming on my channel, because that's back when I used to do my live with Jays, where I would have people come on and we would talk and stuff like that. So we had talked about him possibly coming on the channel, you know what I mean? But for whatever reason, it never came to fruition, unfortunately. Kind of sucks too. It would have been nice to be one of the first dudes to interview him, but I know I asked him a question at the time, and I hope he didn't take it the wrong way, but I had just asked him, if you come on my channel, what are we going to talk about? What would be the subject matter? Because I didn't know who he was at the time. I didn't know his history. You know what I mean? I didn't know that he was a former gang member, and he became kind of like an activist and went to college and got degrees, and he was a pretty smart dude and knew about the law and stuff like that. I didn't know that. That would have been dope had he told me, but I remember asking him, like, yeah, I don't mind bringing you on, just what is the subject matter going to be? But he never really quite told me, and then it just never came to fruition, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And kind of like, after a while, he started kind of making a name for himself, going on other people's channels and growing his own channel. Then he had the Rascals Reacting, and then, later on, obviously, he started doing the whole reading people's paperwork thing and showing his thing about the law, about how he knows about the law and cases and stuff like that. I think he went to UC Berkeley, and he got maybe a degree in criminal law or something like that. But he became very popular. But just because he never came on, we stayed in contact. From time to time, I would send him links to my lives. I would send him links to videos, send him links to other things once in a while. You know what I mean? Sometimes he would reply, and and this was on our IG. And then when he would do his lives, I would jump on his lives. We would talk on his lives. I might have even jumped on a panel with him a couple of times, I remember. And he always seemed like a cool dude. The one thing I really liked about Josh is that, as far as I know, because I didn't know him personally, but as far as I know, he never came off to me as someone who, how can I say, has an inflamed ego. Like he never was like, I was the hardest dude on the streets, and and I was 10 toes down, and I was the hardest gangbanger ever to live. You know what I mean? And you know, I I never got that from him, and that's what I really liked about him. That he was like one of the few dudes that wasn't like trying to. He was one of the few dudes that wasn't trying to like prove like he was something that he pretty much wasn't anymore. You know what I mean? And yeah, he just seemed like a humble dude. I'm pretty sure he was about the business. If you came at him a certain way, I'm sure he would probably, you know, call you out on it. But he was a pretty humble dude. I never got the feeling that he was, like we say in Spanish, un creído, you know, egotistical, or I'm fucking hard, I'm 10 toes down. You know what I mean? Exactly. He didn't ask tapatio sauce. You know, he would tell his stories. But you know what? I actually heard, now that I think back on it, this is even before, like way before his channel. I don't even know if Gunner's channel and them was around yet. But I want to say Josh was on stories written by a current prisoner. You know what I mean? I want to say he was on there. Because I remember a dude was on stories written by a current prisoner, and this is way back. I'm talking about even before I think Comics Perspective or Gunner or any of them were around. And I think he was on stories written on the current prisoner, because I know he talked about that on a video too. After he was Homie's Hangout, but I think he came on and told the story of how he went to prison. I guess the story was that he's originally from Frisco, from SF, from the city, and that he moved to the Concord area. And apparently he had lived all over. He had lived in East Palo Alto. He had lived in Concord. He had lived in a lot of different places. But I guess when he was living in Concord, he got involved with, you know, some norteños out there, some homies, and they got into a beef with some dude. And I guess they went looking for him, and then one day they just happened to find him, and they shot him. They didn't kill him, but they shot him, and the dude ended up in a wheelchair. You know what I mean? And I guess Josh, he claims he's the one that did it. He's the one that took the blame, and he ended up going to the Pinta for that. And I guess, I'm not sure if that's the only thing he went to prison for, but I guess that was one of the main things he said in his videos why he went to jail. And then in that story written about a current prisoner, he says something about, I guess he became cool with that dude Snoops, the Northern Riders guy. And I guess but he had made a video exposing Snoop, the Northern Riders guy. I guess that he I guess he became cool with them, and I think, I don't know if this is maybe before Snoop became a Northern Rider. And I guess his sister went out to meet him. He tells the whole story on, you can probably find it on his channel. I guess his sister went out to meet him, and like he got really like aggressive with his sister or something like that. And then after that, he wasn't cool with them no more. You feel me? With the Playboy president, these frivolous shenanigans. But yeah. So that was a story he had told on stories written by a current prisoner, and that was he had also made it on his video. On one of his videos he talked about. I'm sure he talked about it on a few lives too. And you know, I guess he was cool with Comics Perspective with Flaco. They had been locked up together. I think him and Flaco had gotten into some kind of beef in the past. I don't know if Flaco has put any statement on his passing. I know Flaco's locked up. You feel me? Yeah, it was. Yeah, bipolar. That was a long time ago. So yeah, who knows? It might be somewhere around. But but yeah, I wonder if Flacco said anything about it. But you know, like I said, after all that, like I would get on his lives. I think I might have got on a panel with him before. We talked a few times. We actually talked on the phone a few times. I talked to him a few months back, the last time, like man to man, and it was cool is he knows a very reputable Chicano activist from Oakland too, bro. A really hardcore dude is really to this day doing hardcore work out there in the streets of Oakland. And I'm not talking about gang shit. I'm talking about actual political work and helping the raza in the town. Josh knows him. So when I knew that Josh knew him as well, I say, yeah, Josh is a cool one. For him to know that dude, I'm not going to say no names, but for him to know that dude, I knew that Josh for sure was a real one. He had to have been. Because these dudes that vouched for him to me were cool and reputable people, you feel me? In both worlds, in the streets and in the, in the political world. Yeah, R.I.P. But so that right there made me like Josh. Like I didn't have an issue with them, knowing that he knew those people that I knew. You feel me? Hey, what's up, Frazier? So I looked at Josh in a different light after that. I highly respected the man. Because of that, because he knew some reputable people that I know. So you feel me? But yeah, man, that's kind of my history with Josh. Unfortunately, early on we had talked about possibly him coming on the channel. Unfortunately, it never came to fruition, which kind of sucks. It would have been cool. You know what I mean? I hope he didn't feel that I came at him on the wrong way. But the only thing I really asked him was, what are we going to talk about? Because at the time, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what he was about. You feel me? I didn't, and I didn't want someone coming on the channel glorifying the pen and stuff like that. I didn't. So, but, I don't know. There was maybe a miscommunication. It just never happened. But we were still cool even after that. I would still talk to him from time to time, send him message, ask him questions sometimes. I used to send him videos and lives. He jumped on a couple of my lives. You feel me? But yeah, man. Josh seemed like he was a cool one. I didn't know him personally, but, I just want to send my... But anyway, I just want to send a rest in peace to Josh. Condolences to his family, to his kids, because I know he has kids too. I don't know how many kids he has, but I know he has kids. And yeah, it's sad that they're not going to have their dad around. Josh was about my age. He was about, I know he said he was about 40, 47 or 48. That's around my age. So we were from the same era. You feel me? Lived through the same time, you feel me? But yeah, it's just sad that he passed away, and I know there's a lot of people out there, the drama on the YouTube Yarda, there's a lot of drama out there, but I don't pay it no mind. Yo no le pongo atención, you know what I mean? It's just BS YouTube drama, I really don't care. It is what it is, unfortunately, you feel me? But the drama never stops on here, you feel me? But regardless of how he passed, I don't know how he passed. Some people are saying he took himself out, others are saying that he died of natural causes. Again, like I said, by his own admission, he had said he had health issues. He had said he had a bad back. He had said he's a cancer survivor. He did say something about having issues with his colon, and colon cancer is a motherfucker, I have I'm scared because colon cancer runs in my family. I've had 2 family members get colon cancer removed from them. Luckily, they survived. But a lot of times, if it's not detected on time, it could kill you. So it scares me a little bit because it does run in my family, you feel me? Let me turn on the car real quick. Sorry, I'm turning on the car because if I turn off the light, I'm gonna be in the dark. So, in order for me to have the light on, I gotta turn on the car a little bit for a little bit. I don't want my battery to die, especially if I'm far away from home. But yeah, man. But yeah, colon cancer. It does run in my family. Unfortunately, I've had two siblings who had it taken out from them. Luckily, it was detected on time. I gotta go get myself checked. I'm coming up for a screening. You feel me? But yeah, it makes me a little nervous at times. But I always hope for the best. But yeah, when you get my age, you gotta get checked for that. Your doctor's gonna tell you gotta get that what they call that, colonoscopy. Once you start hitting your late 40s and 50s, it's that time. It's ese tiempo to check your crack. But yeah, there are a lot of ways. I mean, I really don't know. I've heard some people, I know for a long time I wasn't eating a lot of fiber, and I'd gotten scared. This was a long time ago, and then my doctor told me to just eat more fiber, and it helped. This is when I was younger, and I didn't give a fuck. I used to eat this trash, but changing my diet to fiber helped a lot, and I think a lot of times, especially us to grow up poor, without access to good food, sometimes we eat stuff that fucks up our colon. I think that's really what it is. Just try to get as much fiber as you can. I eat fiber gummies usually, or I eat stuff with high fiber like vegetables and fruits. I try to, so I try to take care of the colon, brother. But yeah, I don't know if that's what he passed away from, but either way, like I said, R.I.P. to Josh, and he'll be missed. He was a cool dude. I like Josh. I never had an issue with him at all. I made fun of the way he talked a little bit a long time ago, because he kind of had this kind of old school Chicano kind of sound to him a little bit. You know what I mean? He would talk like, "Hey, what's up, Jose? The homies hang out." What did he say? What was his acronym? Homies meant, somebody put in the comments. I'm having a brain fart right now. Helping others move in excellency. Yeah, he kind of did sound solo. "Hey, what's up? It's Rascal from the homies hangout." He kind of sounded like that. "Hey, what's up, Jose?" He would always say that when I would jump on his lives. Kind of like you say, I talk like a costeño, huh? But yeah. Yeah, Rascal was cool though, man. Too bad I never got to meet him. But, and too bad I never got to do that live with him a long time ago. I wish I could have, But it is what it is. Sometimes just things aren't meant to happen, you feel me? But, like I said, I just want to wish his family a R.I.P. and condolences. And that's really all I got to say about Josh, man. May he rest in peace. Que Dios lo tenga en la gloria. And, I hope he's in a better place, man. That's all I could really say. I just hope he's in a better place, man. If he was suffering, hopefully the suffering stopped. You feel me? And that's all I could really say about Josh. But now at least you guys know my little history with him, and that's what I really wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to get that off my chest just so you guys can know the story. This is no drama, no he said, she said, he this happened, that I don't know what happened. I don't know how he passed. But I hope when he did pass, hopefully he didn't suffer and it was quick. That's all I can really say. When I pass, hopefully it's quick. Hopefully I don't suffer. That's the only thing I ask for. And that's it. But I wanted to talk a little bit about history too, talking on intellectual stuff because you guys already know my obsession with the with the uh, with the '89 earthquake. Anniversary just passed, October 17th, and I wanted to give you guys a little history of something that I'm sure I probably talked about it before, but it was on my mind, and I wanted to talk about it. A little bit of what West Oakland, specifically West Oakland history. Hey, this is a historical channel. But talking about death, the reason I think I'm obsessed with not obsessed, but why that event stuck in my mind all these years is because of the freeway that collapsed in West Oakland. You know, the Cypress Freeway, if you guys remember. Those of you who are from Oakland or the Bay remember it, if you were alive at that time. And so many people died at that freeway. You know, I specifically remember a lady my mom knew named Yolanda Orozco passed away at the freeway. You know what I mean? No, Oakland in '89. Northridge was in '94. You know, yeah, my mom knew a lady that died at the freeway, and I met her. I met her when I was a kid. Her name was Yolanda Orozco. She died with Becca Berumen, and her son, Becca's son, whose name was Julio Berumen, was in the car, and he got his leg cut off so they could save him. But, you know, hey, what's up, Mike Wallace? We're talking about the Cypress Freeway in '89. Remember that? But you know, one thing that's ironic about the Cypress Freeway, I don't know if you guys knew this, or just the 880 in general, the Nimitz Freeway as we call it. You know, it collapsed in '89 and it killed about 50 or 60 people, bro. Dead, bro. It was crushed to death. Which is fucking horrible if you think about it. Imagine being in your car and you get crushed to death, bro. And you know, Caltrans fucked that up. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. Caltrans knew that that freeway was unstable, and they never retrofitted it. And you know, they knew that it could potentially collapse. I remember when I used to ride on it, that shit used to sway. I don't know if you guys remember that. You know what I mean? I was on East 7th Street. No, on 29th, right there at the 7-Eleven. But a lot of people don't realize that that freeway, when they built it, there used to be barrios there and black neighborhoods. Literally. There used to be the old Mexican neighborhood of Oakland and the old black neighborhood of Oakland used to be right where that freeway eventually became. And then, you know, those of you, if you don't know about the history, not just of Oakland, just of the United States, at the time the United States was going through something called urban renewal, and that's when they would destroy old neighborhoods in the sake of progress. And usually those neighborhoods were usually black or brown or working class white neighborhoods or Asian neighborhoods, like in the case of Stockton, Little Manila. If you guys don't know about that, that was another area that was destroyed to build the freeway. So when the Cypress was built and the 880, the Nimitz, they destroyed all those barrios in black neighborhoods, destroyed them, gone, bro, overnight. Just crushed them. You know what I mean? Not all of West Oakland, but there was a small section at one point there was a barrio. That is true. Close to like where North County is, like from North County all the way to about Market, all the way down towards Jack London Square. That was the original barrio of Oakland. Back in the days, back in the 40s and 50s and 20s and 30s. But when the freeway collapsed, when they built that stupid ass freeway in the 50s, they pretty much destroyed and wrecked all those neighborhoods and pushed all those people out of there. You feel me? That's how Fruitvale became a Mexican neighborhood because all the Latinos that had been displaced there moved to Fruitvale, and that's how like some parts of the Deep East became black neighborhoods because a lot of black people that lived in West Oakland that were displaced ended up moving to the went to the Deep, and it's just ironic that these people back in the 50s, bro, some Chicano families that have been there for generations, you know what I mean? Some black families that had been there for generations. And even some white working class families, because there were white people in West Oakland back then, mostly Europeans. There were like Italians and Portuguese, and Irish. Those people got pushed out. Those people's lives were fucking destroyed to build a stupid ass freeway that in 1989 would collapse and kill a bunch of people. Tell me that's not a fucking irony. I was just thinking about that. You know what I mean? And it's just sad what happened in 89, right there in West Oakland. That was fucking sad, bro. And that's what happened. The 880, when you cross it every day, remember at one point that was the old barrio of West Oakland and the old black neighborhood, the old Harlem of the West of West Oakland. It was destroyed to build it. You feel me? Which is sad. But it doesn't surprise me knowing the history of Oakland and the government of Oakland, how it is. You feel me? And I just wanted to share that story with you because the 89 earthquake anniversary just passed October 17th. And, it's a story that doesn't get talked about as much anymore, but it is true. That's true, Frazier. You don't know when it's going to come. Like God said, you don't know the day or nor the time. Oakland Tech and McClymonds, yeah. I mean, those were the only high schools in West Oakland. Well, Tech is technically North Oakland, but... And most of the Mexicans back then, they went to church at St. Mary's, right there on Clay and 7th. Yeah, Clay and 7th. Is that Clay? Yeah. No. What's the other one? It's the one next to past Clay. Help me out, Mike Wallace. What's the one above Clay Street? I'm having a brain fart. Is it Jefferson Street? I think it's Jefferson Street. Where St. Mary's used to be, right by North County. I remember all that, fool. I remember St. Mary's. I remember Housewives Market. I remember La Borinqueña. I remember Mexicali Road, Mi Rancho. Man, Mi Rancho used to have the best burritos. The place was right in front of the police station. I remember Don Luisito. He had the little pharmacy right there on 8th and Washington. I don't know if you remember that, Mike Wallace. I remember there was still remnants of that old barrio there, even in the 80s and early 90s. Oh, La Michoacana was over there too. The tamale place. There was a little hole in the wall called La Michoacana. It was up there too. I know my Oakland history, brother. My roots go back to West Oakland in a way. Even though, it was very brief, but my grandfather lived in West Oakland in the 1940s. La Borinqueña. I never did. I knew them, bro. They were cool people. Well, the best time, I would say Sinaloa's, Gruyense. Who else? There's a place called Chingones. They got pretty good food there. My favorites are still the Gruyense and Sinaloa and Zamorano's still around. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know how good they are. The church across the street from the Greyhound bus station. Is that the one they tore down? Yeah, Don Luisito was on East 14th later. Yeah. He had that place called La Piedad. I remember. But he originally was over there by North County on 8th and Washington. And then I think he moved in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there. He moved to the east. He probably passed away now, huh? I'm sure he's gone now. I doubt he's alive. I mean, fuck, he was around supposedly since back in the 1940s and 50s, so he's probably not around no more. Do you remember that spot, Mike Wallace? It was like a little herbal remedy place. It was like a little pharmacy. And he used to have a big sign that said, "Se habla español." It was right on 8th and Washington. Back in the 80s. Yeah. Yeah, they finally closed it after all them years. Yeah, it was right on the corner, bro. It was right on the corner of 8th and Washington. I actually have a picture of it, believe it or not. I can show it to you. But yeah. Damn, bro, I'm still out here in Sacramento. I'm gonna get off this live soon because I gotta drive home. It was like a little Mexican pharmacy place. It was right on the corner of 8th and Washington. Right by La Borinqueña. Like, not Borinqueña, kind of by Mexicali Roads, but a block down. Closer to Mi Rancho, actually. I came out here to visit someone, and I also came out here to buy a couple things. Just wanted to get away from the house. Want to take a little trip. I like taking road trips. Sometimes I'll go to Stockton. Sometimes I'll go to Santa Rosa. Some days I'll go to San Jose. I just like going to different cities. I hadn't been to Sac in a minute, so I said, you know what, I'm going to come chill in Sac. Get away from the bay. I was in the town, what was that, yesterday. I was in the Lake Mary yesterday for a little bit. We were practicing some music over there. I was at the lake. But yeah, man. But yeah, I'm probably going to tap out soon because I got to drive home. What was, oh, Emiliano. Emiliano. The neighborhood drunk. May he rest in peace as well. Lived 30 in Penniman like 10 years ago. He swears, like Dr. I need to. Oh, I know where 38 in Penniman is. Yeah, Taco Sinaloa's pretty good. Yeah, I got to go to it a little bit. I went to the festival like a couple of times, but I remember it. Different cities. Remember who, Shortcuts. But yeah, the festival at the lake, I went to it a couple of times. I didn't go a lot, but I did go once or twice. It was chill when I went. I know they had some drama out there. The homie from, you're talking about Christian? He hits me up from time to time, but I haven't seen him on here in a minute. I think he's still out there. He hits me up from time to time on IG. I haven't seen him on here in a minute. At least he hasn't come on any of my lives for a while. Maybe he'll pop in. But yeah, man. Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy how since I've been on YouTube, so many people have passed away, man. Really? Are you serious, Shortcuts? He never told me that, but But so many people since I've been on YouTube have passed away. Smitty passed away. Smitty was the original. You know what? In reality, the reason we have late night lives now is because of Smitty. Smitty is the one that started, as far as I can remember, he's the one that started the late night lives. Before that, nobody did late night lives, ever. I don't remember any late night lives back in the days. And Smitty was the one that got me into doing late night lives. Oh, Cekas. Yeah, the old white guy with gray hair. He was the first one to really do late night lives. And after Smitty, I started doing late night lives. Remember, I was working in the Tenderloin in San Francisco, so I would do those late night lives. And I'd be fucking bored at that job. But yeah, Smitty was partially the reason why I started doing the late night lives. Yeah, he was always drinking. Oh yeah, and then Rick Riley. What was his nickname? What was Rick Riley's nickname? Damn, I'm brain farting right now. Was it Sunshine? Sundown. Wasn't it Sundown? Sundown, yeah. Yeah, Sundown too. I talked to him. I got on a couple lives with him. Remember, he would always fall asleep. He would fall asleep on the lives. He passed away. Even though I never talked to that dude, and he was lightweight crazy. Savage Studio passed away. That other dude, he wasn't really a YouTuber, but he would get on a lot of lives. That dude, Iron Bear, he passed away. And now, unfortunately, Josh met his demise. Sadly, man, sucks. Cause I like Josh. Out of all the ones, I like Smitty too. Smitty was pretty entertaining. But with Josh, he was really cool, man. And like I said, I talked to him in the past, and he was a chill dude, man. I heard who? Who's that? I'm not sure who that is, bipolar. Guy Contreras? Josh, I'm not sure what he passed away of. I've heard so many rumors, but yeah, man, some young guy. But yeah, it's just crazy how many YouTube people on YouTube have passed away, have passed on. Oh, Lou, yeah. You know what? I never talked to him much. I talked to him a little bit. I didn't get to know him as much, but he did know some people that I knew from Oakland. You know what I mean? And he did shout me out a couple times. I'm not sure who he was. Box Contreras. Heard of Box Contreras. Who was that? That name rings a bell. Oh yeah, P Nava. Badger did Nate Landknives. I don't remember. Yeah, Lou. I guess he has a family, a big family from Oakland. I know some of them. Who was Box Contreras? I'm trying to remember that name. That name sounds really familiar. Is that a dude that used to come on Hella Lives back in the days? He would come like on different channels. I think I remember him. I don't know if I've ever seen how he looks like, but I kind of remember hearing him on like American Cholo and different channels. I don't think he ever got on my channel, but oh yeah, Frazier. I mean, Smitty was the first one, at least in our circle, that started doing it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know him then. I just remember, I do remember a dude who used to call in a lot of channels, claimed he was from SoCal. I don't know if that was, like, I want to say his name was Boxer. Donnie. I remember Donnie. I wonder whatever happened to Donnie. Was an interview on Badger's channel. Oh, okay. I don't remember Badger. That name that rings a bell. Donnie. I remember Donnie. They buy him like clothes and stuff. That's funny. Playboy Eddie from Hoodstocks. I don't know who Playboy Eddie was. I didn't watch Hoodstocks as much. Maybe Badger, I think, was the guy who hung out with Big JD. Orale, I don't remember him. The name sounds familiar. Can't remember him. Fat and Saucy. I never got to see that dude's channel, but I do remember him. Fat and Saucy. Wasn't he from San Jose, I think, or something like that? I remember him, but I don't think I ever seen his channel. But I do remember seeing his face and seeing him around YouTube back in the days. Here with it. Oh, Kim! I remember that guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. I remember he's the one that burnt himself or something like that, right? He jumped on one of my lives a long time ago. Phew, fat and saucy. I'm fat, but I'm not that sloppy. Shit. Oh yeah, what happened to him? JD. Yeah, I remember him. He was the white Sureño guy, right? Whatever happened to him? Did he pass away, or is he still alive? Yeah, I remember him. And greasy. I mean, we're all greasy. Yeah, I remember JD. Whatever happened to him? He disappeared, huh? Oh, okay, so he just stopped doing it. Oh, savage. Yeah, I ain't seen him in a long time. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a really long time. But hey, I gotta tap out because I gotta drive back home. I'm far away from home. Salvadorian Sureño? I don't remember him. Brittany Savage, I don't remember. But alright, y'all. Tonight was my live with Jay that I wanted to do tonight. I'm gonna tap out because I gotta drive back home. I'm far away from home right now. It's late night. And fucking Julio. But I'm gonna tap out. Everybody be safe. Take care of yourselves, man. So Julio Solorio, Shortcuts, Mike Wallace, Widget, Bipolar Chipmunk, Frazier, and everybody else who was on. I'm gonna tap out. You guys be safe, man, and take care of yourselves, and help others move in excellence. You know what I mean? Like Josh would say. You still in? Yeah, I still live out in Contra Costa. I'm in Sacramento right now visiting, but I'm not gonna head back that way right now. That's why I'm trying to get off, because I got to get back home. It's kind of late. for Nacho. I know. All right, y'all. You guys be safe. R.I.P. to Josh. Condolences to his family. And be safe, y'all, and take care of yourselves. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. All right, y'all. Late.